Hello all, this is Halloween, and just a friendly reminder, Halloween is only 5 months away. You heard me right. We are already in the 5th month of the year, and we're running out of time. So if you love Halloween and you love making costumes, or you're going to a cosplay convention soon, or you haven't picked out anything for Halloween, I'm telling you, it's gonna sneak up on you. So this is the place you want to be. So if you're into that sort of thing, stick around because you're going to get a lot of great ideas. And I'm going to be showing you how to make awesome costumes without breaking the bank, and maybe even using some items you already have at home. Today's costume is a classic. Remember that cartoon called the Jetsons? Yes. Today we're going to be recreating Rosie, the French-made robot from the Jetsons. We're not going to waste any time today because we got a lot to do, and I'm going to probably voice over all of the steps to making this costume. It's made entirely out of paper. It's work, you know, so give yourself time to create this costume. Let's get started. You're going to need about 6 pieces of white poster board and 4 pieces of black poster board for this project. As you can see, I got started building the cylinder that's going to be her head. That's the first thing that I did. To fasten it, I used hot glue and trimmed the edges. To cut a hole, it's always easier to go ahead and use a box cutter first to create your, just basically a stab wound. And then you're going to go around and cut your circle. It's a lot easier that way. I had a piece of scrapped cylinder laying around that I cut rounds out of and made the eyes. Placed them up to the head where I wanted them to be and traced around the eyes so that I could cut a hole. Again, I used the box cutter for the hole initially, and then I cut the rounds with the scissors. Then I cut strips of paper to create a mouth. Rosie had a functional mouth. So you can see that she has like teeth or lips there. And then I trimmed the edges of that with the hot glue. I'm going to go in with a paintbrush later and trim the edges black. You are going to need a lot of hot glue for this project. And make sure your glue is extremely hot when you glue, because if it isn't extremely hot, it just turns into like plastic and it won't adhere to the paper as good. Here you can see I am spray painting the head now silver. And then I took a red cellophane that I got for basket wrapping, and I just happened to have some, so I glued those on top of the eyes to cover. I used 2 layers of this red because the first layer was real thin. I wanted it to be a little redder than that. I cut strips of black felt and framed the eyes with the black felt using a hot glue gun. I then made her headpiece with a marker. I just drew it onto the poster board and cut it out. I took 2 bamboo skewers here and colored them with the Sharpie. And then I have 2 wooden balls here and some acrylic paint in red. And I painted the balls red and then hot glued them onto the black skewer. Then I cut foam into a round and covered that entirely with poster board, hot gluing the poster board onto it. And then I went ahead and poked a hole with the skewer so that there would already be a hole created when I hot glued the finished piece into the painted round. The easiest way to do your edges is just going to be to cut 2 squares that are large enough to cover each end of your cylindrical mask. And you're going to paint the entire piece of square paper, and then what you're going to do is place the side of the head down on the unpainted side, and you're going to use duct tape. Now you're going to need a lot of duct tape too. Use duct tape to secure it in place, and then you're going to reinforce that with hot glue. And this is actually the method we're going to be using for the entire costume. It's tape first and then hot glue. And after that, you're just going to trim the edges, and then you have your sides, and then you're just going to hot glue on your cylindrical rounds that you just made, one for either side of the head. And you'll be done with your Rosie mask. To create her buttons, I used these 2 small Dixie cups and a toilet paper roll. And I started cutting rounds, about 1-inch rounds. After they were all cut to the size that I wanted, I cut strips of the black felt and lined the outside of each one. And then I took this beautiful red cardstock that I had and I hot glued the red cardstock into the top of each round. I also made 2 smaller buttons, and those are for our arm pieces that we're getting ready to make right now. And here is the finished product. For the arms, I just made 2 cylindrical forearm pieces with the poster board, curved them around, hot glued them, and cut them into the shape that I wanted. Once that was done, I added some more duct tape and then made the cuffs for each one. And then I spray painted these silver, spray painted right over the duct tape, and then I added my buttons that I made for the arms and hot glued those on. Then I hot glued my cuffs to the wrists of each arm. And then I took my larger buttons that I made from the Dixie cups and hot glued them to the upper arms of the shirt. For this part, you're going to need 4 pieces of white poster board to create her upper body shield. You're going to need to use your own body as a guide to create the front and back parts of this shield, and then you're going to paint it silver. Once you've done that, you're going to attach both sides with hot glue. Make sure your glue is extremely hot. Then you're going to cut up the back side, and we're going to add in pieces of velcro to velcro the piece on. In order to do this, I used some non-adhesive velcro and some adhesive velcro. On one side I used the fuzzy side, and I actually hot glued the fuzzy side to the poster board, and then on the other side I used the self-adhesive coarse side of the velcro, and that way they connect from the inside and you won't see the velcro. Then you take 2 other pieces of poster board and you're going to start creating your sides. Cut them each to match one another, and then you're going to paint those blue or silver, whatever you choose. I kept what I cut off from making the neck and used that for measure when I was making her collar. So I just drew a collar onto the poster board using that as a reference, and then I outlined with Sharpie and hot glued to the neck of my costume and cut right down the middle where it needed to connect with the velcro. Then I started adding my buttons and attaching my sides using the duct tape and then reinforcing with hot glue. After that, I painted the hot glue with black acrylic paint. We're doing the exact same thing with the skirt. I used 4 pieces of black poster board and hot glued the 2 sides together, cutting only around where my waist would be, and then I duct taped the inside the shape that I wanted and then reinforced with hot glue. Then to make the apron, I used a scrap piece to measure, and then I drew a picture of the apron and outlined it and cut it out, and then attached with hot glue. Again, I did paint that hot glue black, and then I cut straight up the back and did the Velcro in the back, just like we did for the top. Using a pair of old silver leggings, I just went ahead and adjusted the backing of the mask to fit my head a little bit better, and I just hot glued that in. And then using a pair of existing gloves I had, I cut out more of the leggings material to create these sort of cuffs to go over my 4 digits, creating more of a robotic look for the hand. And I just slid that over and hot glued it. And it looks perfect. So my costume is pretty much complete now, but when I put it on and tried it on together, I realized that I needed to contour this piece a little bit to fit around the bottom skirt part. I'm going to now do that, and I will take some progress shots of how to correct this if you need to. That's just something that happens sometimes, but the thing is it's going to be a lot easier to correct now that it's all together than having to do it all over again or anything like that. Obviously, for Rosie, we're going to have a mask on. But I was going to tell you about one of my things that I absolutely hate, and people do it all the time. They'll have something like a mask, they'll be wearing a mask or something, and then they take it off in the middle of the night and they're not wearing any makeup. They look like crap. They're all sweaty. If you're going to do a costume, do it all the way through. This costume being entirely made of paper, I'm going to be taking it off. So whatever I'm wearing underneath has to still say Rosie. After the costume contests or whatever, generally is when I kind of relax. But if I'm going to stay out and I'm going to be relaxing, I want to still look good. So I'm just going to do a regular makeup so that I don't look like Fido's rear end when I take my mask off. And I have this cute little outfit that I will also photograph for you that I'll be wearing underneath. That kind of still looks futuristic. It still conveys Rosie without me looking like I'm just wearing, you know, a t-shirt and shorts or whatever. For example, when I was Zoltar from the movie Big, I was wearing, well, I wasn't wearing, I had a huge machine around me. Technically, all I would have to do is my upper part because nobody saw the lower part of my body. That didn't mean that I didn't go ahead and still dress entirely like a genie, because what happens if I need to use the bathroom? I'm going to be a genie up top and sweatpants and sneakers on the bottom? No. I dressed the full costume because that's how I think it should be done. That's what I think you should do. So I'm just going to do a quick makeup that looks kind of futuristic. I'm going to wear my Betty Boop style wig, you know, because that kind of says French made, and that's going to be it. You know, and I'll have this cute little outfit to rock underneath when the costume contest is over and I'm just running around eating and mingling. When I go to contests anyway, or if I've never been to a Comic-Con, but if I ever go to a Comic-Con, I'm not one to sit down in my costume anyway. I parade around, show my costume off until costume's over and it's time to have a beer. So, and I stay in character too. If I'm a certain character, like when I was the Elephant Man, I walked around with a limp. I acted like the Elephant Man. When I was the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland, I acted like the Red Queen. I held my head high. I walked very confidently, you know, and it adds to whatever you're doing if you stay in character. Don't just wear a costume. Be the costume. I cleaned my lenses up pretty good, so I think that smudgy blur that I had for so long, it actually maybe not there anymore. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. Truthfully, my GoPro goes through it. I'm gonna do my eyebrows here. I'm doing black because my wig is black, so I mean it travels with me. I put it in the case and everything, but it's all over the place. So, and you know, it's got makeup all over it from doing makeup, and I do have eyebrows, as you can see. I just darken them. Like if I'm wearing my black wig, I do black eyebrows. I want to kind of look futuristic, and I want to also do the colors of Rosie, you know, red and blue and maybe a silvery color. So I do have my Tamex Revolution palette, which I got from Target. It's a pretty good palette. It's not bad, you know, and it's like 15 bucks. So since I'm doing costumes all the time and stuff, I need all these colors for different things. And I have this one, which was a more expensive palette. This is the Alchemist Holographic palette, and this is from Kat Von D. It's got some kind of opalescent shades in there that are really pretty and kind of futuristic looking. That's all I'm gonna need for the eyeshadow. I have used poster board for a lot of different things. Poster board is versatile. Hot glue loves it. And anything you have that's gonna look metal, poster board is a great medium because you can spray paint it and make it look metal. So if you're making a suit of armor for one of your kids, you can totally make it out of poster board. You can spray paint it gold, you can do all the little designs or whatever, and just make it out of poster board. And it's friendly, it's cheap, and it'll look great. I've done the Tin Man out of poster board. And I've also done C3PO out of poster board. So it's a really great medium to use for costumes. And it's $1, well, it used to be like $1 a sheet. Now it's $1.39, but that's still pretty cheap. What am I gonna do first? I think I'm gonna do this palette first. And I'm gonna go with the blue color. There's a blue sapphire in here. And it's more like a white. They all kind of look white, but it's just really iridescent and kind of pretty, so I'm gonna do that. I've said before in previous videos, like when I first started doing this, I'm not a professional makeup artist or anything. I'm not gonna claim that. Eventually I'm gonna get to a point in these videos where I'm gonna start having a little bit of hate or shade thrown my way, probably in the comments, because I'm not doing things right. But I don't claim to, you know. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. You can do your makeup however you want. Or, since you're wearing a mask, you don't have to do makeup if you don't want to. This is just what I do. The whole idea of this channel to begin with was for everyday people to have awesome costumes and for me to help with that, because that's what I am. I'm just an everyday... I went to beauty school, but I'm a beauty school dropout, so that doesn't really count. And I didn't do the makeup part of it, it was for hair. So I do watch a lot of tutorials and stuff like that. And I think I do a good job with my makeup, but it's by no means following any kind of professional rules. And because I never studied that, I think it always ends up looking pretty good. Despite all that. I actually like that. A little bit in the crease. Do that sometimes. All right. Now that I have my base, I'm gonna go in with some blue. And in this Tamex palette, they have a blue here in the corner. You can't really see the shine very much though. I actually should have used this for the Queen Elizabeth. There was like a pinky one in there because it's really white, has a lot of white in it. That's okay. I'm just gonna tap this blue on and I'm gonna put a little red somewhere. I probably will put on some eyelashes just so I look real cute. Trying to kind of match, you know, rosy colors and futuristic. So now I just had to decide what red I want. I think I'm gonna go for the matte red. It's a little brighter, and I'm gonna put it probably in the center here. Got kind of under here a little bit, but it's all right. Ain't hurting anything. I'm gonna do the same to the other side. Now I'm going to put a little bit of blush on, and then I'm going to finish up with my eyes. I think I'm going to do a pink blush. Blush will do. Or any blush you want. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to look a little cartoony, so I'm going to do a pink blush here. I'm doing this because I can't find my blush brush anywhere. I misplaced it. I don't know where it is. I need to find it because I'm getting ready to go on vacation. I ain't doing this every day. That's for sure. We're going to Cincinnati. So if you've been watching my cemetery videos, I'll be doing Spring Grove Cemetery in Cincinnati. Also going to be covering one of the Jewish cemeteries there called Walnut Hill. And those will be coming up, so those will be really cool to watch. They're really nice cemeteries if you like that, if you've been watching those videos. As you know, my relationship with eyelashes is not good. So I did go off camera to do my eyelashes, and I did a little bit of a cat eye. That's it, you know. Everything's done. Eye-wise, I'm gonna use my Give. This is not bad. This is the new line from Gwen Stefani, and I'll be using her lipstick here. And it's actually not bad priced either. If you get a good lipstick from CVS or Walgreens, it's gonna run you about 11 bucks. Hers is like 21, so it's like twice the price of what you would pay at your local pharmacy, but it smells good, it stays well. It does dry a little bit on your lips, and you will have to apply it after a couple of meals. Nothing's like, you know, perfect like that. No product that I've ever tried anyway. I don't know about this new trend that everybody's going past this dip in their lips and they're just making it round up top. I hate that. I think it looks ridiculous. I will always have that little dip in there. That's what my lips are shaped like. When you shape it round, it just looks weird. Now, don't you think that looks better than me just rolling out of bed, putting the mask on, and then like taking that off later and looking like crap? Do your costume all the way through. And if you're only got part of your body covered, then do that part anyway, you know? Go all the way to your feet with the costume, because I promise you, it's gonna be a lot better. You want a 100% commitment to whatever you're doing. That's the way you win contests. Don't tell anybody I told you. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved today's look. It was one that took a little bit of work, but we got there, and I think it turned out amazing. I know that it will for you too. Remember to always commit 100% to your costumes, no matter what it is. If you're going to a contest or you're going to a Comic-Con, you will be the star of the show. Just commit to your costume. Make sure you're not half-butting anything. You know, if you've got a part of you that's covered up with costume, think of how your night's going to go. Are you going to be sitting down? Are you going to want to take that off after a while? And dress underneath whatever the rest of the costume would look like to you. So, just the best advice I could give you. When you're making a costume like this, it's tricky, and, you know, you may want to get out of it eventually, so make sure you're prepared for that. Anyway, that does it for today's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe on your way out, and remember, we're doing a costume every week from here until October. October, we'll be doing 2 costumes a week. I'll see you next time.